Hello everyone and welcome to Club Reaction to Aberdeen 2, Rangers 3 here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. I am Scott Carney. I'm on my own tonight to bring reaction to another 5-goal thriller, are we going to call it that? I think we're getting a wee bit too used to already these 3-2 wins, and I'll take 3-2 for the rest of the season. If we win every game 3-2 for the rest of the season, I'm up for it, but I don't think my heart will be able to cope with it, and I think a lot of Rangers fans would be in agreement. Look, I'm ecstatic the fact that we've come away with the win tonight, absolutely no doubt about it. I did not see it coming, I'm not going to lie, and a lot of the things that I will talk about tonight are still things that I've noted down during the game. I took notes tonight because I knew I was coming on to do it myself, so there's still certain points that I think I need to bring up, and I think it would be right to. But however, what I cannot deny is the determination to get the 2 goals and to get the 3 points by the team. A lot of work still needing done, absolutely no doubt about that. But right now I'm on a bit of a high, as you would expect, because we've managed to get through that 3-2. We're literally the last kick of the ball. So yeah, I am delighted at that. But my goodness, there is work to be done. So yes, tonight I'll break down the game a wee bit. We'll jump into the team first. It was McGregor, Tav, Goldson, Sands, Devine, Jack Amara, Tillman, Kent, Sakala and Morelos. Big news that Goldson returned, obviously, and that Lundstrom dropped out. I think a couple of lads had called that in the pod on Friday. But it's good to see him continue with the 4 attackers in Tillman, Sakala, Kent and Morelos. Slightly surprised it was Goldson, I'm not going to lie. I thought it would have been Davies that would have came in, just purely based on the time that Goldson has been out. But Beale did mention before the game on Sky Sports that he's going to look to do some form of rotation with them in order to get them up to fitness, up to match fitness, which is, I think, is a very wise thing to do considering the games that we have coming up, and we need them both back soon. Soon. That's an understatement. We need a solid back line. That is for absolute sure. And yeah, into the game itself. First 10 minutes was about 50-50, not really any team dominating. The only thing to note was Colum not booking an Aberdeen player for a blatant booking on Kent, and then Kent had an effort with a shot that was well wide of the mark. And then 12 minutes, Rangers take the lead. Really good link-up play down the right-hand side with Morelos and Jack. Morelos cuts it back to Sakala. Sakala makes a complete hash of the first attempt. It comes straight back to him, and the second attempt, a really tidy finish through the legs of the keeper to make it 1-0. You literally seen both sides of Fashion Sakala there in 3 seconds. That is literally Fashion Sakala. But he done really well. He done really well to keep his composure and to put the ball away to make it 1-0. And yeah, it got us off to a really good start. There was a slight VAR check for a handball. Wasn't a handball. Blatantly not a handball. It took far too long. That's one thing I did agree with Andy Walker saying on Sky Sports, and it's not something I usually say, but it took far too long. It wasn't a handball, it's a goal, and rightfully it stands. But it was a really good link-up play, something we've seen under Gerrard, that kind of link-up play at that area of the pitch, just at the corner of the box. But it was good, really good by Morelos, and yeah, Sakala did well. Wee second effort, that's for sure, to keep his composure and put it away. 15th minute, we go close again. Tillman, really good work down the right-hand side, gets himself to the byline, cuts it back to Morelos, whose effort straight at the keeper. Devine then gets beat by pace down our left. A cross seems to hit the top of Tavernier's arm, but it was ruled to only be a corner by VAR, so Rangers managed to defend the corner as well, the first corner that the opposition team get, and we defend it. That's a plus point. You've got to take pluses out of that, surely, after what we've been witnessing recently. Jack's booked along with an Aberdeen player for handbags in the middle of the park, really just the start of the column show, let's be honest. I think there was 10 players, 10 players, I think, booked tonight, which Willie Collins, the referee, what do you expect? And then Aberdeen miss a sitter on the 23rd minute. Goldson slips after Aberdeen break. There was a poor pass from Tillman up the park. Tav can't get back, who Tav tonight defensively and attackingly, in my opinion, was not good. Not good at all. He was extremely poor. And the Aberdeen players kind of running onto it from the cross that Tav doesn't manage to stop, and I just expected the net to bulge. I expected them to rip the net open, and he somehow puts it wide. That's a real poor effort by the lad. I've not even noted down who it was, but if that was a Rangers player that was up the other end of the park, we would not be happy about it, and at least he has to try and make McGregor make a save there, but he doesn't, and we kind of got away with one, that's for sure. Still very much signs of defensive vulnerability within the Rangers team. I really don't think any of the backline really commanded themselves tonight. I say Tavernier was all over the place. Goldson, yes, I know he's working his way back up to match sharpness. He wasn't he wasn't his usual self, his usual commanding presence that he likes to have. I thought Sands was a bomb scare pretty much all night. And Divine's a right back playing left back, and he's a young lad still learning his craft. So you've got to give him a wee bit of leeway. But he was caught for pace a couple of times, and just kind of misreading the game. But that's going to happen. He's a young player, so I'm definitely not being too harsh on Divine, because ultimately he was probably the best of our back line tonight. I get a bit midway through the first half, it would become very scrappy. There was very loose passes from both teams, and players kept losing their footing as well, which was a kind of strange thing to see on both teams. But yeah, it became a bit of a scrappy game, and Rangers slightly lost their way. I think we kind of allowed Aberdeen to try and build themselves into the game, and I mean, I suppose we shouldn't be shocked that Aberdeen raised their game to play us and don't defend like they did on Saturday, but we all know they've only got 4 games a season and they're all against us. So, but you could see, I think even at points, you could see the triangles that Beale's trying to implement within teams. You can see the passing plays, you can see the passages of play that he wants the team to do. I thought Kent worked really well with Kamara at points. Linking up down the left hand side, and even with Divine on the overlap, it was just the final balls at time wasn't really quite coming off. I still think there's a lack of belief in quality as well within the team. I think there's definitely going to be problems, which I will come on to from the second half, that's for sure. But there's definitely still things to be worked on. But you can start to see, I could start to see anyway in my opinion, you could start to see what Beale is actually trying to build here. 39th minute, Sakala has an effort whiz over, just over the bar from the edge of the box. But again, it was Kent that was the main creating factor in that move, and I thought Ryan Kent looked extremely dangerous in that first half, whether he was picking the ball up deep, working his way through the middle, working his way out onto the left. I thought every time he got the ball in the first half especially, I thought he looked so dangerous, and we're beginning to see glimpses of the old Ryan Kent, and more of that please, because I think he's a nightmare to play against, and with this kind of free roll that he seems to be getting, I quite like him coming inside as well and bringing the ball, picking the ball up deep, turning and going at opposition teams. I think that's where he's most effective, just to kind of allow him to do what he wants. I think you'll get the most out of him, but I think that there's certain points you can see the old Ryan Kent. You can see the old Ryan Kent for sure. 42 minutes then, Sakala then has to do better as he goes down. He goes down far too easily, putting pressure on the defence as he loses the ball. Sands takes a swipe at it first time, misses it, and then he takes a swipe at the Aberdeen striker and is correctly booked for not dealing with it. It's a good position for a free kick for Aberdeen. McGregor takes one step the wrong way, and he's beat at the keeper side, if you like. It's a well-struck shot, yes, but in my opinion, McGregor has to save that. I don't think there's any great doubt. If he doesn't take that step, he saves it. It's a good strike, it is, but I think Alan McGregor himself would be disappointed that he's not saved that. His position was not very good, and he's not read it right. He's not read it correctly. And yeah, it's 1-1. So 3 minutes added on time at the end of the half, but nothing happens, and it's half time 1 each. So my thoughts at half time at this point, I was okay with what I'd seen so far. I took the lead, but we didn't really kick on from it. We look dangerous in patches though, but again, basic errors are just costing us. Defensively, still look shaky. None of the defenders really taking command, and all 4 have been caught out in the first half. There will be debate on whose fault the first goal was. In my personal opinion, I think it's Sakala, Sands and McGregor all have to take blame for it. Sakala has to do better than that. That's just go down far too easily. Willie Collum's never going to give you that. Unless you're in a red shirt, of course, then you will get it. And then Sands, yeah, he was just a bomb scare tonight. I don't know whether he's been playing on the right or whatever, whether he's now moved to playing on the left because Goldschmidt's back, I'm not sure, but not great tonight at all. And then with McGregor, yeah, in my opinion, he has to save it. He has to save that. It's a decent enough strike, yes it is, but from where his starting position is, the one step that he takes to his left-hand side really takes him away from the ball. If he doesn't take that step, he saves that. So he's misread that one. In terms of the players, I thought Kent was very dangerous. Jack and Mara were much more about it than compared to the first half that we seen against Hibs on Thursday night. But I do think that we needed more from Tillman. I thought Tillman was very quiet in that first half. Whether he was getting marked out the game, we weren't playing to his strengths, etc. I'm not sure, but we still we needed more from him because he was extremely quiet into the second half. And yeah, this is as bad as a second half of a Rangers performance that we've managed to win that I've seen in a long time. Maybe not a long time, but it's not. I didn't expect to see it. Rangers didn't start that half at all. It was chaotic. It was panicky. There was no composure. Nothing, absolutely nothing. We looked like a deer in headlights for the first 5 minutes, and all because Aberdeen had decided to press us a little bit higher. It was, it was a show one to watch, which ultimately led to Aberdeen taking the lead. Again, this one, it's hard to defend Sansia. It really is. It's hard to defend them. The ball's kind of fired in, not even that great across. It's a ball we should be dealing with, and all he does is just tee up Clarkson for Aberdeen. Okay, the boy still meets it on the volley and he scores a great goal, and you can't really blame McGregor at this point, but Sands has to deal with that. It's fundamental defending. Again, I know he's not a centre back, but this is where he's been playing. He should know better by now. You have to do better than that. It was not good enough at all. But ultimately, that was the cause of the start of the second half that Rangers had. Rangers were so poor in that second half to start with. Absolutely terrible. Nobody was taking control of the ball. It was just, don't know what we said at half time, but I'm hoping it wasn't that, because there was zero composure in it at all. It was a real hard watch. It really was. The goal with the goal mapping is just unacceptable. You can't be conceding goals like that. You can't be setting up players at the edge of the box to have a shot on your goal while you're out of position because you've made a mess of the clearance. It's just unacceptable in every single way. Rangers then have a penalty shout waved away. Again, I've seen it again on Twitter and stuff, and yeah, there possibly could be a penalty shout in this. I can't even remember generally if the VAR checked it during the game. I can't remember. I'm sure somebody let me know in the comments. But to me, it looked like it could have been a penalty. But again, I'd need to really see it properly, clearly, not all zoomed in and pixelated. But it does look like he moves his arm towards the ball. So I'm sure that'll come up for debate. Rangers then make 4 changes. Jack, Sakala, Kamara, Sands off. Davies, Lundstrom, Arfield and Wright on. At this point, just after the hour mark, I'm not going to lie, and this is where I said I would be honest, and this is what I noted down. The problems are exactly where we've been saying they are for a while. A huge percentage of this squad is finished. And Beale, who I do think has good tactics, who I do think is the correct man for the job, can try all the tactics and tweaks that he likes, but ultimately these players continue to let us down. And I think that's what we're seeing. There is far too many players within that team that as soon as the pressure is on, they just can't deal with it, or they don't want to deal with it, or they don't want to go that extra mile, and they don't want to have that fight. It's a predicament that's not going to be resolved quickly. In my opinion, I think this is going to take time. But the second half performance was nothing short of embarrassing by Rangers, genuinely. Nothing short of embarrassing. And the root cause, as I say, is the confidence levels within the team. It is the commitment levels of certain players within the team. There's too many of them now that are done, that are past their point of being Rangers players, and it's going to take time, but it's going to need to happen. There is many players that have to be moved on or dropped. Replacements need to be dropped in. Whatever needs to happen. But I think we all know just by looking at what we've seen in that second half that there's too many of them now to continue like this. We have to start clearing out. We have to start bringing in fresh faces, because this is something that's continuously going to creep up if we continue with the same squad that we have. Are you able to tell by my notes here that I'm getting a bit irritated? Goldson then decides to do, well, I don't know, pass 2 balls away just for the sake of passing 2 balls away. No idea what he's thinking. Arfield nearly gets Rangers back in it after a rebound, falls to him on a volley for him, but to be fair, it's a decent save and it is well cleared by Aberdeen. We're into the last 15 and Aberdeen are defending deep now, as you would expect. They've obviously got a 2-1 lead to hold on to it, and we weren't really doing anything in an attacking sense at all. And then when we do, Tillman slips in Arfield, but Arfield might as well have rolled it back to the keeper. It was that poor an effort. And again, what we were seeing was when the pressure is on, we revert to type. And by that, I mean we revert to the safe pass. We revert to poor decision making. We revert to poor attacking play. No real desire to right the wrong. We're seeing it kind of over and over and over again. We've seen it under Gio. There's far too many players doing it, and I'm only saying that before I come onto the goals because this is how I was feeling at the exact time, and I don't think it really changes. But once I've calmed down and reanalyzed the second half again, when I watch it back, I'll probably still feel the same. If I don't, then I'll obviously correct myself. But that second half, the majority of that second half, if not all of it, apart from the last couple of minutes, is why we found ourselves in this position that we're in just now. Because when the pressure's there, they just don't want to do it, or they just go into their shell, and you can physically see them tensing up. You can see the players tensing up when it's happening. They don't play with any freedom. They don't play relaxed, and everything looks like it's just overplayed and struggling, and there's just not enough. I don't know. Not enough confidence, probably. That's probably the main thing. There's not enough confidence that they believe they can turn it around. Because under Gio, let's be honest, we wouldn't have. In my opinion, we wouldn't have turned that round under Gio. Man, I'm brutally honest about that. But the players do need to understand that past glories mean nothing to us if you're failing now. Past glories don't mean anything if you're failing us now. And that's the way I felt at the time. That's why I'm saying it. That is why I'm saying it. But anyway, 7 minutes added on time. And I was about to write, you might as well have made it 70 minutes of added on time, but Scott Arfield decided to rewrite my script. 95th minute, Rangers grab an equaliser. A great shot by Kent. Arfield's there to turn in the rebound. And then Tillman, great footwork, gets the ball to the back post. It comes back to across the face. Goldson kind of half helps it onto Arfield, and Arfield turns it away to make it 3-2. And I go ballistic. I go absolutely mental as Rangers make it 3-2 with pretty much the last kick of the ball. It's football. It's what happens. I know what team's going to be feeling more gutted about the way things went tonight. I'm sure Aberdeen fans will be hurting. I'm sure their DVD was almost getting recorded and printed at the time when they thought they were about to beat big old bad Rangers in their backyard, but it was not to be because Scott Arfield decided to ruin the party. And yeah, Rangers get out of there 3-2 winners. Look, it wasn't perfect. It isn't perfect. There is going to be stuff done. I think you could tell by Beale's face at the end of the game that he's not a happy man about this, and improvements still they're still there. They still need to be made. It's going to take time, and I think that's the biggest thing that I can take away from tonight, that this is not a quick fix. It is going to take time. He's going to need all the players back that he can get back, and he needs to be brave with some players. There's some players that need to either buck up their ideas or move on. This really is getting to the point where it's as simple as that, because there's too many of them now that once the pressure's on, if you can't deal with the pressure of being at Rangers, you're never going to survive. You'll never survive. You can't hide. And I think too many of them are currently trying to hide. There's not enough time for me to sit, and it's probably not worth it me sitting breaking down all the players. Once I have the lads back on, or I have another guest on or whatever, we'll sit down and we'll break down what we think of certain players. But for now, I think we all know that there is problems within the squad. There is absolutely no doubt. But ultimately, under Beale, we have shown grit, desire, determination to come back from 2-1 down twice now, 2 games in a row, to win the game 3-2. I don't want to do it every game, but if I have to, I'll take it. But I know we won't always get away with it. That's the thing. We won't always get away with that. That won't always happen. But we've done it tonight. We've done it tonight. So we have to be happy. We have to enjoy it. A Rangers win is always something to be happy about. And we'll now roll on to Friday. I did think Thursday would give the team a bit of a boost, but ultimately that second half performance had me worried. It really did have me worried, because we just reverted to type. It just went backwards again. We just turned into this team that looked a wee bit clueless, and it really shouldn't be the case with the players that we have within that squad. It shouldn't be happening. But yeah, we will move on to Friday now. So I will be back on Friday for sure with a reaction to the Ross County match. But yeah, until then, enjoy the rest of your week. I'll speak to you all on Friday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.